everyone, welcome to Zen Yoga with Sarah. Thank you for joining me today. My offering today is we'll start with a little meditation, then we'll move into some stretching, and then we'll do a gentle flow as well. So let's go ahead and get started with finding your comfortable seated position. That can be just one ankle in front of the other, legs stacked in an Indian style, full or half lotus, whatever is in your practice. Just go ahead and find that comfortable seated position. Straightening through the spine, lengthening, rolling those shoulders back, finding that nice posture here. We can either take those palms flat on the knees or taking a mudra with those fingers, however you feel comfortable. But with that, we'll go ahead and gently flutter the eyes closed, and we're going to start to breathe together. So inhaling all the way to the top of the lungs, filling those lungs with air, pausing at the top, and exhale through the nose, totally emptying the lungs. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. I'll go ahead and let you continue to breathe at your own pace, just moving through those breath cycles with ease and intention. And just continuing to breathe in through the nose, filling those lungs with air, feeling that rise of the chest. Exhale, slowly and mindfully, releasing all the air from the lungs. Again, just moving through those cycles at your own pace. We'll stay here for a few minutes. At the top of our practice, we're really beginning to tap into that mindfulness, bringing that energy inward, and really starting to settle into our space of yoga today. Again, being really mindful to draw those breaths out as long as you can, enriching those inhales, really getting as deeply as you can, just improving the quality of the breath overall. Maybe if an Ujjayi pranayama is in your practice, kind of that audible breath, moving toward that if you'd like. Couple more moments here as we're settling into our breath, really becoming aware of that breath. Just taking a moment to notice that breath. Just notice how it feels. How does it feel shallow? If it does, really take this time to intentionally deepen that breath, lengthen that breath, and just work toward extending those breaths each time you exhale. And taking these last few mindful breaths to set your intention for the class today. Really like to start our class with an intention. It's just something that brings you to your mat today. It could be anything really. It could just be your daily workout, or it could be something a little more spiritual, just depending on where you are and why you practice. And maybe it's something like as simple as positivity. So just being more positive yourself and being more aware of the positivity that you're creating, and maybe spreading that out into your community around you. Maybe it's something like that. But I'll just give you a couple moments here to think of your own intention. Again, it can be anything that serves you. Go ahead and find that intention, breathe to that these next couple breaths as we round out our meditation. breath here. When you're ready, gently flutter the eyes open, coming back to our neutral spine here. It's going to bring our fingertips to the mat next to us, and we'll continue to inhale together. So bring those arms up and over, inhaling. So bring those palms together at the top. And exhale, bringing those hands down through heart center. Okay. We get to the navel here, letting this split. Bring the hands back to the mat, and we'll repeat. So inhale, bring those arms overhead. And exhale. Control. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Let's do about 3 more of these at your own pace. Just moving through, letting the breath lead the way. Couple more here at your own pace. At the bottom of that last exhale here, just meeting back with our fingertips on the mat. From here, we're going to go ahead and raise our arms to a T, just from side to side, and we're going to do some lateral movement here. So on an inhale, we're just going to take a stretch to the right, just keeping that left hip on the mat here. And exhale, back to center. Then inhale, reaching to the left, taking a nice hip stretch here, side body stretch, wherever you're feeling it. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reaching to the right. And exhale, back to center. Inhale, reaching to the right, or to the left this time. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, to the right. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, reaching left. Exhale, back to center. Again, inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale to the left. Exhale, back to center. And releasing the arms to the floor. You're going to plant that right hand on the floor, bringing that left arm overhead. Another side body stretch here. Looking up toward that elbow. Again, trying to keep that hip on the floor. Breathing here. 2 more breaths. Flowing through the center, we'll switch sides. So planting that left hand this time, bring that right arm overhead, taking the side body stretch here, keeping that right hip planted, taking the gaze toward the sky. 2 more breaths here. And back to center. So quickly, just reversing our posture here. Whatever leg or foot you have in front or on top, go ahead and switch that. So creating balance through the hips here. Let's take an inhale, bring those arms overhead. And exhale, we're going to hinge forward at the hips, letting the chest come first. Bring those hands to the floor wherever they may fall. Then walking those fingertips out a little bit farther, if that feels good. Taking the stretch here. Noticing where we're feeling that stretch in the hips, breathing into those spaces, creating a little more openness each breath cycle. 2 more breaths here. walking the fingertips back toward the body. Let's go ahead and bring the legs out wide. I'll narrow mine a little bit so you can see my feet. Okay, from here, let's go ahead and take an inhale as we reach up overhead. And then here we're gonna reach to the right, taking the stretch here. So just reaching toward that right foot. And breathing here, 2 more breaths. Back to center, walk those hands back. Inhale, we'll switch sides. Exhale to the left this time. Reaching for that foot. Trying to draw that knee or the nose close to the knee. Just taking inventory of our flexibility right here. Taking notice of those spaces that seem a little tighter on one side than the other. Just really breathing into those spaces. Trying to create a little more flexibility each time. So for 1 more breath. And exhaling back to center. Again, inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, again, hinging forward with the hips, coming straight forward. And come to the hands. You can come to the forearms, or just depending on flexibility, you can come all the way down to the chest. Either one, so a few breaths here. Again, taking notice of our flexibility, where we're feeling that stretch, and breathing into those spaces. 1 more breath here. And back to center. All right, we'll go ahead and bring those legs together, coming into our staff pose. Let's take an inhale for a seated forward stretch here. And exhale, kind of reaching forward or past the toes. Again, just kind of taking inventory of our flexibility in the lower back, how we're feeling through our legs. A couple breaths right here. Again, trying to draw that nose down toward the knees. 2 more breaths. And walking those hands back toward the body. Then however you can, find your way to tabletop. So we'll just come to hands and knees. So just planting our hands under our shoulders, spreading those fingertips wide, creating that nice solid base here. For now, let's keep those knees together, and we're just gonna let the hips fall off to the right. Take a nice gentle stretch. Just kind of coming over a little or bringing those hips all the way to the floor, whatever feels good and not painful at all. And then coming back through center, we'll switch over to the other side. Again, just letting those hips fall over to the left side. And then coming back through center, we're just gonna tick-tock back and forth. So just releasing any tension we're holding in the lower back right now. Breathing here, a couple more breaths, just letting it go. And when you're ready, back to neutral spine. And we'll move into our cat-cow. So on an inhale, letting that tailbone tilt up, belly drops down, head lifts up. Then exhale, rounding that spine up, pushing the floor away through those hands. Exhale. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And back to neutral spine. On our next inhale, we're gonna bring our right arm up and our left leg straight back. And on the exhale, we're gonna draw our elbow to knees. We kind of crunch in, contracting. Inhale, expanding back out. Really pulling everything toward the center, to our midline here. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend, really engaging the core, engaging those glutes. Exhale, contract. So do one more inhale, holding right here. And relax. And switching sides, we'll go ahead and on an inhale, bringing that left arm up, right leg back this time. And exhale as we contract. Inhale, extend. And engaging the core. Nice solid base here. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale. Exhale. Do one more inhale and hold right here. So 2 breaths as we're holding. Again, engage in the core. Really nice and solid here. One more breath. And relax. All right, from here, let's go ahead and come into our, actually, let's keep our knees together and we'll come into a child's pose with our knees together. So keeping those toes together in the back. Dropping that seat down toward the heels, letting that chest fall toward the mat, extending those arms long on the mat. So here we're just kind of coming into our puppy pose, trying to let our chest fall toward the mat as much as possible. So staying right here, we'll do 3 breath cycles. On our next inhale, we're going to kind of move through a flow here in our puppy pose. So on our inhale, we're going to come forward, bringing that, trying to keep the chest low to the floor. So we're going to inhale, kind of dropping down onto those forearms. Inhale, coming, extending up into the little cobra pose. And then exhale, we're going to push back up to our knees, back into our child's pose. Again, inhale, keeping that chest low to the floor. Inhale to a cobra, and exhale back to child's pose. Let's go and do 3 more of these at your own pace. Inhaling and exhaling. 2 more here. One more cycle. Excuse me. And then from here, let's come back to our tabletop. We're going to take our right arm on an inhale, spin that chest open all the way up to the sky. Then on an exhale, we're going to bring that arm all the way through, thread it under the left arm. They're going to come to settle on that right shoulder. A couple breaths here. And this nice side body stretch, shoulder stretch. One more breath. And planting that left hand, coming back to center. We're reset here. This time we're going to take an inhale, bring that left arm all the way up, rotating that chest to the sky, and exhale, threading that through. So we're settled on that left shoulder this time, looking to the right. 3 breaths here. Bottom of exhale, planting that right hand, coming back to our tabletop. Let's take a moment here, kind of just wiggle the hips out, releasing any tension there. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into our first downward facing dog of the practice. So tucking those toes, steady those heels toward the floor, hips toward the sky. So we push up and back to our downward facing dog. Now here in our down dog, we want to remember hands and feet about shoulder width apart. Pushing back through those shoulders, feeling that nice stretch through the back of the legs. Pushing back through the shoulders, keeping that head nice and loose. Can give a nod up and back, back and forth. And then here, breathing as we hold our down dog. Here you can either choose to find some stillness, or if you'd like to walk the dog, just bringing one heel to the floor at a time. Feel that nice stretch again through the legs, through the heel. And making sure we're sticking with the breath. If you ever find yourself holding your breath, just make that conscious effort to breathe through it. Excuse me. Let's do 2 more breaths here. And from here, we're going to shift the weight over into that left foot. Bring that right leg straight up as high as you can. Inhale here. And on our exhale, we're going to move forward over those shoulders, bringing that right leg all the way through, bringing it down to pigeon. So uncurling that back foot. And here in our pigeon, we can keep that right leg kind of bent inward. Sometimes you want to keep it parallel to the mat, but for beginners especially, it's easier just to kind of keep that leg tucked diagonally underneath you. So finding that spot of your pigeon where it feels nice and comfortable. If you have a block or a bolster of any kind, it might help to just kind of stick right under that hip for a little more stability if you need. Anyway, in your pigeon, coming here, we can keep the chest up if you like, taking a little back bend. You can come down to the forearms, or you can reach those arms all the way out, just depending on whatever works for your body, whatever is calling to you, and whichever stretch you prefer. So finding any of those variations. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Really feeling this hip opening right here through this right leg. And I'm breathing here. One more breath. At the end of that exhale, planting the hands in front of you, tucking that back toe and pushing it back to downward facing dog. Here, let's go ahead and walk the dog, releasing any tension in that hip we might be holding. That is a pretty intense hip opener, so just stretching that out, breathing. Ready, finding some stillness in your dog, pushing back through the shoulders, and then we'll switch sides. So when you're ready, shifting that weight to the right side this time, taking that left leg as high as you can behind you. Let's take an inhale and exhale as we come forward over the shoulders, and planting the left leg this time. Again, you can kind of keep that left leg tucked in instead of bringing it parallel to the mat. If your hip flexibility allows, you can certainly bring that parallel to the mat, but right now not important, just as long as we can feel that stretch and it's not painful. So again, from here, we can either keep the chest lifted, taking that back bend, we can come to the forearms, or we can stretch those arms all the way out. Just whichever variation works for you. Again, if you got a block bolster, you want to pop it under that hip for some stability, feel free to do that as well. So here, let's do 3 more breaths. One more breath. And at the end of that exhale, planting those hands back in front of us, tucking those right toes this time, and then pushing up and back into our downward facing dog. Again, pedaling that out, walking the dog, if you will. Couple breath cycles here. Again, just releasing any tension in the hips and finding stillness in the dog. Let's do 2 more breaths here, really pushing back through the shoulders. Let those heels drop toward the mat a little more each time if you're not already there. All right, one more inhale all together right here. And then as we exhale, we're going to move forward over the shoulders again, coming into a high plank. So if we need to reposition those arms and legs, coming into our high plank here. We're going to hold, breathing here. Just come a little more forward on the balls of those feet. Bring the chest a little more forward. Continuing to breathe. If you need to drop the knees to the mat, you can do that. We're going to hold right here. Do one more breath. And then when you're ready, you're going to keep those elbows tucked in, hugged in close to the body as we lower it all the way down to the mat. So when you're ready, exhale as we lower. Again, keeping those elbows tucked in all the way down. Uncurling those toes here. You can let those arms come down to the side. And just take a couple breaths resting from that plank. You can just take a cheek to the mat. One more breath here. All right, and then when you're ready, go ahead and bring the chin to the mat here. Bring those hands to the lower back, clasping those hands together. And from here, we're going to roll those shoulders back and lift the chest. We're just going to peel the chest off of the mat and lift those hands away from the body. So coming into our locust pose. Let's do 2 breaths here. I'm trying to roll the shoulders back, lifting the head. Do one more breath. And lower. You take the other cheek to the mat this time. 2 resting breaths. And we'll set up for one more. So bringing those hands together, clasping those hands. And when you're ready, you're going to take an inhale as we peel the chest. Adding the legs this time too if you'd like, engaging that core. Pulling those hands away from the body. Breathing here. Do one more breath. And exhale. And taking the other cheek to the mat. 2 resting breaths. And this next one you can choose to do that hand clasp again, or we can try the bow pose. So you can either clasp those hands coming up, or you can reach back for your ankles, like so, if you can do that. And then on an inhale, again, we're going to lift that chest, kicking back into those hands. Breathing here. One more breath. And release. You're taking the other cheek to the mat this time. 2 resting breaths here. And when you're ready, planting those hands just under our shoulders, pushing back to our knees. We're going to come back to our tabletop. And then again, when you're ready, tucking those toes, back to down dog. Let's do 2 more breaths here, really pushing back through the shoulders. Let's do 1 more breath. From here, let's go ahead and walk our hands back toward our feet till we're in a standing forward fold. I'll scoot up here so I'm in the camera. And from here, we're just going to just let it go here, relaxing, releasing the lower back. We want to take a slight bend in the knee here. You can do that. You can stay here in our forward fold. If you'd like to take ragdoll, just by grabbing those elbows with opposing hands and letting that chest fall toward the legs, just letting it rest there. Just breathing. We're letting gravity do the work here. If you'd like to sway, side to side in your ragdoll. You can just straighten one leg at a time. Coming back through center, just straightening the legs and bending. Let's do 2 more breaths here. And finding some stillness. Letting those hands fall back toward the floor. And we're going to inhale and come halfway up. So we're just going to kind of make that 7 with our body. We're going to exhale. Excuse me. And sweeping both arms all the way up. Take an inhale. So bring those arms overhead. And exhale. Hands to heart center. All right, so toward the back of our mat. Let's just take one big step up, coming to the top of our mat, to our standing mountain pose, or Tadasana. And we'll move right into our flow. So from here, we're going to take an inhale as we sweep those arms down and around, coming all the way to the top on an inhale. Exhale, swan, diving forward to forward fold. Inhale, coming halfway up again, looking straight out. Exhale, forward fold. And sweeping both arms all the way up. Inhale, reverse swan diving all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale. And exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. All right, from here, we're going to step that right foot a little farther than halfway back on the mat. We're going to set up for a high lunge. So keeping on that ball of the heel, we're going to inhale as we sweep the arms all the way up here. So sinking down into that lunge. Hips squared. Gaze straight forward, arms straight and strong. Breathing here. Let's do 2 more breaths. Holding our lunge. Okay, when you're ready, we're gonna just kind of shift that heel to the floor. So we're coming into, we're gonna come into warrior 2. So from that lunge, sink that heel down, bring those arms down to warrior 2. So breathing here, that gaze or drishti over those front fingers. Making sure we're relaxing those shoulders down the back. Do 1 more breath here. On the exhale, we're going to bring our forearm to our thigh here, and then we're going to bring that arm straight up to our extended side angle. So we want to make sure we're making a straight line from the tips of our fingers all the way down to our feet. So a lot of people tend to do this. If you want to just drop that hip a little bit, you can better achieve that straight line. So kind of rotating the chest toward the sky. Do 2 more breaths. And as we exhale, pushing all the way back into Sky Archer. And just letting that right leg come, or right hand come down the right leg. Front leg straightens. Let's do 1 more breath here. And on our exhale, we're going to cartwheel those hands all the way to the floor, framing that front foot. Step back to plank. And exhale as we lower. So we're going to move through our chaturanga. So coming forward on those legs. Exhale. And inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, tucking those toes or rolling over those toes back to downward facing dog. 2 resting breaths here. When you're ready, looking up, go ahead and step or hop to the top of your mat. Taking an inhale as we come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Sweeping both arms all the way up. Inhale, coming to standing. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, switching sides. We're going to take an inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And like I said, switching sides. We're just going to take that left foot this time, stepping back to high plank, stepping back to high lunge, my bad. Inhale as we sweep those arms. And sinking into that lunge, bring those arms by our ears, breathing here. One more breath. On the exhale, let's go ahead and switch that heel. Go ahead and drop that heel down and open up to warrior two. And make sure we're dropping those shoulders down the back, relaxing them. Excuse me, gaze or drishti over those front fingers and breathe. One more breath. On the exhale, bringing that hand to thigh. That left arm overhead, coming into extended side angle. Trying to rotate that chest toward the sky, breathing here. Again, making that straight line all the way down, dropping that hip if you need to. One more breath. On that inhale, coming all the way back through to sky archer. Dropping that left hand down the left leg. I'm going to rotate the chest open. Do one more breath. And on the exhale, cartwheeling those hands all the way down to frame that front foot. Inhale, so we're stepping back. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. So lowering to the floor on our exhale. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, tucking those toes or rolling over the toes back to downward facing dog. Two more resting breaths here. Looking up between the hands, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, coming halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping both arms all the way back up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale, swan diving forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. And back to the right side here. Set that right foot back. We're going to be coming into our warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale, sweeping the arms. So here we want to check our heel to arch alignment. So the heel of that front foot aligned with the arch of your back foot. That back foot, be 45 or 90 degrees, whatever is more comfortable for your posture. So let's kind of play with that, finding whichever works for you, and then settling in to the pose. So keeping a bend in that front leg, but not so much that you can't see that big toe. So just kind of take a look down, make sure you can see that big toe. Bring those arms to ears and breathe. One more breath. And from here, just opening into warrior two. So legs stay the same. We just open those hips. But gaze or drishti over those front fingers. And relaxing the shoulders down the back. Let's do one more breath here. On the exhale, we're going to straighten that front leg. We're going to set up for Trikonasana or triangle. So from here, we're going to send this hip back, and we're going to reach out and over those front, those toes. So there's a lot of people go straight down from here, but in a triangle, you really want to do the extension first, and then find that rotation down to our Trikonasana. So chest opens toward the sky. I want to make sure we can see that thumb just in line with our nose. Breathing here. On a triangle, if you want to find your ankle or your foot or even the floor, you can do that. Just whatever posture works for you here. Let's do one more breath. And from here, we're going to take this right hand. We're going to float it down to the floor. We're going to plant it right here on the inside of that left foot. And then we're going to twist, open, into revolved triangle. So left hand is up this time. Try to open that chest to the left here. Breathing. Always making sure we're coming to that breath. Coming back to the breath. Do one more breath here. On the exhale, we're going to sweep that left hand down, so we're framing that foot again, taking a bend in the leg, inhaling, and we're going to step back to plank, and then move through our chaturanga. So exhale as we lower, inhale to our cobra or up dog, and exhale, back to downward facing dog. 2 more resting breaths here. When you're ready, looking up, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping those arms all the way back to standing. And exhale, hands back to heart center. Again, inhale, sweeping the arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. All right, switching sides, we're going to step that left foot back this time, setting up for warrior one on the opposite side. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Again, finding that heel to arch alignment. If you need to look down, squaring those hips forward. And settling in to our posture here. Breathing. Always making sure that we're coming back to that breath if we ever kind of feel it getting shallow or we kind of feel ourselves getting away from it. Always take that time to really come back to the breath, recenter, and refocus. So one more breath here. On the exhale, opening up to warrior two. Again, keeping those hips the same, or keeping the feet the same, just opening the hips to the side. Bring those arms straight out, relaxing those shoulders down the back. Gaze or drishti over those front fingers. Excuse me. One more breath here. On that exhale, straightening that front leg, setting up for our triangle. So here, again, we're going to take this hip and kind of move it back, reaching out and over those toes, not straight down. We're going to go out and over those toes before we rotate down into triangle. Again, finding the ankle or the foot or even the floor or a good place for a block if you've got one. I forgot to say that on the other side, I'm sorry. So again, finding that thumb in line with the nose. Rotating the chest, breathing here. Do one more breath. You're going to to sweep this left hand down, planting it just on the inside of the right foot, and then we're going to sweep that right arm open here, revolved triangle. So gaze up toward that hand. Trying to keep this front leg straight. Breathing here. Do one more breath. Exhale, sweeping that hand down, taking a bend in this right leg. Inhale here, step back to plank, and chaturanga. So exhale as we lower. Inhale to cobra or up dog. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. So 2 more breaths here. When you're ready, looking up between the hands, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, coming halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Sweeping both arms all the way back up. Inhale. And exhale. All right, so from here, we're just going to come, well, you can stay at the top of your mat. I'm just going to open up so you guys can see me better. We're going to come into a couple standing poses. So first of all, we will come into the quintessential yoga pose, which is Vrksasana or tree pose. So kind of starting to shift your weight over, we'll start to shift the weight over to the left side. So you really want to create a nice solid base, kind of picturing your foot as a rectangle. So you want to be able to kind of lift all your toes up off the floor, but you're creating a nice solid base here. So when coming into tree pose, you can either just pop that right heel up on that left ankle and bring your hands to heart center. If that feels good right there and that's your tree pose, you can stay right there and breathe. If you'd like to start moving that foot up the leg, finding a spot that's comfortable for you, you can do that. You can even take your foot in your hand and place it into the inner thigh. Again, just finding whatever spot works for you. Now here we're going to find a drishti or a focal point, just maybe a few feet out in front of you, maybe on the floor or maybe on the wall, just depending on what's most comfortable for you. So we're going to stay here and breathe. If you fall out of your pose, it's totally fine, just coming right back into it. If you need to find a wall to stabilize yourself, you can do that too, just finding that spot and then just breathing into it. And keep your hands at heart center. If you'd like to grow your tree, you can bring those hands up toward the sky, just like you're growing branches. And just breathing here. If you'd like to take it a little further, you can take an asymmetrical mudra with your fingers and then close your eyes. Makes it a little more challenging. So just a few more breaths here in whichever variation of this tree pose works for you. And then when you've had enough, just go ahead and shake it out. Shake it out back and forth, and then we'll switch sides. So again, coming back to center, starting to shift the weight over into that right side this time, creating that nice solid base. Actually, yeah, if you'd like to pop that heel up against the ankle, and if that's your tree pose, that's perfect. Again, you can stay right here. You can find a wall to help stabilize you, or you can start to move that foot up the leg. You can even grab that foot, again, putting it into the inner thigh and just finding your tree pose here. Again, it's your practice, it's your body, you listen to your body, you do what you're able. Breathing here. Again, finding that focal point or drishti just out in front. Staying here in your tree pose or growing those branches. Breathing here. Again, if you fall out, no worries, just come right back to it. you'd like a little bit more of a challenge, taking that asymmetrical mudra, closing the eyes. It's a little more of a challenge when you're not focusing on anything. Just a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, coming back to center. Actually, I'll turn this way again so you can see better. We're going to move into a dancer pose. So, beginning variation of this, we're just going to kick that right foot up into the right hand. Again, if you need to find a wall space for this, go right ahead. You want to stay right here. If this is a good enough stretch for you, you can always just stay right there. You want to bring that arm out front. Back up a little bit. Staying right here. If you'd like to move in toward King Dancer, you can start to lower that chest down, kicking that foot into the hand. Bring that leg up. Breathing here. And whatever variation of this works for you, you can just finding that spot, breathing into it. Come down, go and shake it out. Then when you're ready, coming back to center, and we'll set up for the other side. So, excuse me, and kicking that left hand into that left foot into the left hand. If this is a good enough stretch for you and you feel good right here, you can stay here. If you like to add the arm for stability, or again against the wall, or holding a chair, whatever works for you here. And then if you'd like to start to lower that chest and kicking the hand into that foot, coming forward. Breathing here. Woo. Do one more breath. All right, then go ahead and kicking that out. All right, then from here, let's go ahead and come into a wide leg forward fold. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and clasp those hands behind the back. Then we're going to roll those shoulders open. Then we're going to pull those hands away from the body. Then we're going to set up for a forward fold. So again, rolling the shoulders back, pulling those hands away from the body. We're going to come forward, letting those arms kind of drop overhead. Maybe they're still down here a little bit, but that's fine. We've got to work on opening those shoulders so we can feel that nice stretch in the arms here. So breathing. And one more breath here. Go ahead and release those arms to the mat here. Another couple breaths. It's in a wide-legged forward fold. Alright, from here, since we're already close to the mat, we'll do an option here for a headstand, a tripod, a forearm stand, maybe even a handstand if you want to try to do that in the next few breaths here. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this way, but I'm going to actually come down and work on a forearm stand. So you guys can stay here in this wide-legged forward fold and just stretch. If you'd like to bring the head down, tripod or anything like that, go ahead and play around with that now. If not, just stay right there in your stretch. Like I said, I'm going to just throw in a forward or a forearm stand to see if I can do it. A couple more breaths here. ahead, start to lift the chest up a little. And plant those hands on the floor, just right in front. We're going to start to heel toe those feet back together. We're going to set up for a Murlasana or a yoga squat. So whenever you're ready, we're just going to go ahead and drop the seat down. Again, trying to make those heels meet with your mat. Just depends on that flexibility throughout your Achilles tendon here and flexibility in general. So just finding that spot that's comfortable. If you're kind of up like this, that's okay. We just want to make sure that our chest is facing up. We're looking up and not down, if flexibility allows. We're going to breathe right here. And not only pushing against those knees with the elbows, but also back against the elbows, kind of just creating that dynamic energy here, keeping everything nice and engaged, breathing. Always an option here to throw in the crow or any other kind of arm balance that you might be working on at this time. Actually, I'll go ahead and move sideways again so you can see a little better. So if we want to move into crow, you can either stay right here in your Malasana, or if you want to, plant those hands down in front and move into your crow. If you can do that, go ahead and do that now. But always remember that moving into crow, it doesn't have to be like an all or nothing kind of situation. If you're a beginner and you want to start practicing crow, I definitely encourage you to do that. But one of the things that I like to suggest is just taking one foot off the ground at a time. You don't have to just go all the way into it and risk face planting. So just bringing those knees, hugging them as closely into the triceps and to the armpits as you can get them. And then starting to just shift that weight forward. And then once you get here, just lifting one foot off the ground. Just kind of seeing how that feels to hold your body weight up with the one, just with that one foot lifted. So then moving back into it, and then maybe just lifting the other foot. And you can repeat that as many times as you need to start getting comfortable and getting a feel for shifting that weight forward. But from here, just do a couple more breaths wherever you find yourself right now. From here, we're just going to slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Bring those those legs straight back out to staff pose. Let's take an inhale here. And exhale, hinging at those hips, reaching forward for, excuse me, for those toes. And trying to draw that chest down toward the legs, nose toward the knees. And maybe you're feeling a little difference in this seated forward fold than you did at the one at the top of the practice. So always just be aware of that as you as we've moved to the practice. Maybe you've gained a little bit more flexibility, a little more openness in those spaces, and that creates for a better stretch here. 2 more breaths. You're ready, you're going to slowly start to roll back up to seated. Excuse me. I'm actually going to turn this way again. All right, so from here, we're going to take our right leg. We're just going to kind of bring it up into the chest. We're going to take that left arm, kind of cradle that foot into our arm here. And then we're going to bring that right arm around. So we're just going to kind of rock side to side, kind of like we're rocking a baby, but it's really our leg here. You should feel this nice stretch right through here. If you want to add a little bit more intensity, you can try to lift that leg up a little bit higher. You can just breathing here, feeling this nice stretch through the leg. One more breath. And just gently releasing that leg back down. and then we'll switch sides. So again, this time we're gonna pull that left knee into chest. We're gonna bring that right arm around, kind of cradle that foot, and then bringing that left arm around. Again, just staying here, gently rocking that leg like a little baby. Taking a breath. Again, adding some more intensity by lifting that foot. We really want to feel it right in through here. A few more breaths. And when you're ready, releasing that foot back down. All right, then from here, let's go ahead and come to Baddha Konasana, or bound, or butterfly, we'll say. Then from here, we're going to just grab the ankles, and we're going to gently place those elbows on the knees. Then breathing here, just gently applying some pressure to the knees, and leaning, coming forward with the chest. Just breathing right here. Two more breaths here. And coming back up to seated. And turning again this way. And from here, finding those sits bones and rolling back to boat pose or Navasana. So keeping those shins parallel with your mat. Again, finding those points of balance just at the tip of your tailbone. Bringing those hands here. You can keep the bend in the knee, or you can straighten the legs here. Just breathing, engaging the core. Let's do 3 more breaths. Let's do 1 more breath. And just gently rolling all the way down to the back. So just releasing it all to the mat. We're almost done here. Just a few more stretches. Maybe tick-tocking those knees back and forth. Just releasing any pressure in the lower back. So from here, we're going to move into shoulder stand. So I'm going to keep those hands planted here. And then what we're going to do is just bring those knees up. I'm just going to kind of roll up here. Just peeling those hips off the ground. Then we're going to place those hands just kind of on the top of our hip bones here. And then rolling into shoulder stand. So in a shoulder stand, what we really want to do is make sure that we're on their shoulders, up on our shoulders, and not actually on our neck. So if it takes a while to work up into this, that's totally fine. But we just want to make sure that we are actually standing on our shoulders and not dumping our weight into our neck, which can be dangerous. So just breathing here. One more breath here. If you'd like to drop those legs behind and take a halasana or a plow pose, you can do that. Keeping those knees here. If you want to bend those knees and try to bring those knees down toward the mat, you can do that. Then whenever you're done, just coming back through our halasana, lowering that back down to the mat. I'm sure that wasn't pretty, but you get the idea. Here again, tick-tocking those knees back and forth. Keeping with the breath. From here, let's go ahead and bring those knees into chest. Kind of hugging those knees, lifting that head up, creating this nice little ball. Let's hold that breath. And then as we exhale, finding our happy baby. So just grabbing those outsides of the feet with the hands. Just kind of applying some slight pressure down, getting that nice stretch in the legs. Kind Kind of rocking back and forth. If you'd like to give yourself a little lower back massage, you can do that. Just kind of letting the breath slow back down. Kind of going back to a normal breath now as we round out our practice. When you're ready, gently releasing those feet to the floor. As we move into our Shavasana. Just letting the whole body relax. Letting those feet relax. The knees fall open, feet fall open. Your facial muscles relax. Unclench the jaw, unfurl the brow. Just let the body settle in to the mat, absorbing our practice we just had. Again, you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like. But for time's sake, we'll go ahead and cut ours just a little short today. A couple more breaths. When you're ready, you're going to gently roll off to the right side. It's kind of using your bicep as a pillow. And coming to the fetal position. Giving yourself a hug as we end our practice today in a moment of gratitude. Just giving thanks to the universe for being able to practice together, whether it's in person or on the internet. We should be thankful for having any option at all to come together and create our piece. And then thank you for joining me and tuning in and supporting me. I appreciate that more than you can know. When you're ready, drawing ourselves gently back up to our seated position that we started in. And ending our practice all together. And thank you for joining me. Look forward to seeing you again next time. Till then, the light in me honors